Hello everyone, my name is Alexandra. I am a birth doula and prenatal yoga instructor. I'm also the owner of Bear and Nurture Birth Services, and I live in Belmopan. I was hoping to do this class outside, but it's really windy right now and you couldn't hear me at all. And so instead we're in my living room, and hopefully this works out great. I'm gonna start by talking about pregnancy, yoga, how they intersect, how we make yoga safe for pregnancy, and then also different yoga positions you can use, not just during pregnancy, but during labor itself as well, and ways you can use yoga to do really amazing things, such as encourage your baby to be head down instead of breech, and help your round ligaments not be painful and stuff like that. So at the end, after I'm done with the talking bit, we will do a nice, safe, slow flow for pregnancy and a little guided meditation to finish up. So I'm going to start here in the front, and then I'll move back to the mat when it's time for the flow. So I highly recommend yoga to all of the clients that I work with. As a doula, I support people both during pregnancy, during labor. I do things such as comfort techniques and counter pressure and helping them getting good positions and ways they can encourage baby to be in ideal positions for the sort of fastest and easiest delivery. And I'm also with them during labor in the labor room to do all of these things and to encourage and to support and to help them navigate and understand the medical system and the options and what are the risks and what are the benefits for all of these different things. So I'm a big fan of yoga in pregnancy. Obviously, I became a yoga teacher. I've been a doula since 2016, and later on I became a yoga teacher. And this was actually because I had so many people asking me, where can I find a prenatal yoga teacher? How can I get the benefits of yoga? And where I was living at the time, there wasn't anyone around. And I thought, oh, this is so important. I want to bring this to people. Now in Belmopan, I'm so happy that I can bring this to you and all of the wonderful birthing people of Belize. Some of the benefits of yoga and pregnancy have to do with keeping your flexibility. You know, we always laugh about not being able to tie your shoes when you're super pregnant, but yoga can help us still do these things, still be able to touch the ground, still be able to move comfortably. It also helps the tissues stretch, and it helps things such as when you're pushing the baby out, you can repeatedly doing certain yoga poses can help strengthen those muscles. You're less likely to tear, you know, when you're strengthening some of these muscles. And it also just helps us to keep the circulation flowing, keep the air going to baby, and to find that mindfulness that is so important in pregnancy, and that calm. In fact, my very favorite thing, secret in pregnancy, is a type of pranayama. This is a type of breath that we can do. You've probably heard of ujjayi breathing, which is our deep belly breath. I like to tell people, you put your hands on your belly. If you're pregnant, you can put it one on your chest, one on your belly, however you like. But when we inhale through the nose, we expand the belly all the way. Naturally, at the top of the breath, the chest will expand. And then exhaled all the way out through the nose. Now that's our ujjayi breathing, but a different type of breathing, breathwork that I love in pregnancy and to use in labor is actually, there's many different names for it. Commonly people will call it a balloon breath, and it's the idea that you do something similar when you're having the contraction or the surge, whatever you like to call it, and you inhale and expand the belly just as much as you can. And then you use that exhale to sort of bring the energy down and out. This also helps you get the baby out. And just expanding that belly as much as you can during the contraction often takes the edge off. It often makes it a little more comfortable. Sometimes you might have to do that deep breath a couple times during a contraction, if it's a long one, if it's intense. And I swear that this sort of balloon breathing, just that expand the belly all the way, see how much air you can fill into it, and then exhale. You're exhaling through the mouth this time in the balloon breath, sending all that energy down and out. I swear this is what got me through my 2 natural births with my daughters, and this is so helpful for so many of my clients. So the breath work, the positions, all of it plays together in yoga. for a healthy pregnancy. Now, you may be told, okay, maybe I can't find a prenatal class where I'm at. I don't know what's safe, what's not. I'm going to give you some of the very basic parts of how you could take a regular yoga class and make it safe for pregnancy. So the main things that we don't do, it's really about taking pieces out that we don't do or just adjusting them so that they're safe, is we don't lay flat on our backs. Especially the more pregnant you get. Now, if you fall asleep, you wake up, you're flat on your back, don't freak out. Your body naturally can regulate these things. You would really be kind of seeing spots and stuff if it was a problem. But we generally avoid that because you have blood flowing through the vena cava, which is a very big artery going through the body. And it's the main source of airflow for the baby. So sometimes when we lay flat on our back, then it can reduce airflow to both you and the baby. And so that's why we encourage people, especially late second, third trimester, to try and sleep on their side. And when we do savasana in yoga, I often will encourage people to either be supported, so they're like leaning back on cushions, so they're not all the way back in their tailbone, or to be side lying. And you'll see me when I do the slow flow at the end, I'll be side lying. Another thing that we don't do is we don't do deep twists, so this like stretching all the way, don't do what I'm doing, all the way back. We just tend to look to the side instead of looking behind. And this is because your abdominal muscles are already doing so much work to support baby, so much work to hold baby in and hold all the fluid in and keep it up. And you're like, this is why my hips hurt. Yeah, it's because your abs are doing so much work during pregnancy that you don't need to strain them extra. We don't go from laying down to sitting up. We don't do deep abdominal twists because we don't need to stretch those muscles. They're already stretched well enough. So if you're doing any sort of twist, just look out to the side. You don't need to look behind you. You don't need to look over the shoulder. You can just look out to the side. And that's just enough stretch. Another thing is that we don't do inversions. We don't do like standing on our head. Now, I will say, if you have been doing yoga your entire life, there is some controversy on whether or not it's safe. But generally, the reason we don't do inversions is just because of the blood rush. That can happen. You know, it can kind of reduce blood flow when you flip on your head, and then just falling. Really, the risk of falling. Now, in terms of exercise and pregnancy, the rule of thumb is generally that you can do anything that you are already doing. Before, if you're a runner, you can continue to run. If you are a walker, you can continue to walk. If you lift weights, you just keep doing what you were doing. You don't try and suddenly train for a marathon. You don't try and suddenly have that 200-pound weight. If if you're more in the low numbers, you just kind of keep going where you were going, and you listen to your body. If you start cramping, you stop. If you get really tired, you stop. You take more rest. You take deep breaths. You drink lots and lots and lots of water. These are ways we keep ourselves and our baby healthy. So those are some of the basics. People often ask me, can I still do balance poses in pregnancy? Yeah, you can just take it slow and do as you're comfortable. And I always recommend people have a wall or a chair nearby so that you can grab it. We don't want falling, right? No one wants to fall. No one needs to fall. But if you're just doing a very slow tree pose and you have a chair next to you, so if you start to wobble, you can grab it, that's okay. Obviously, anything that I say in this video, anything that you're curious about, always talk to your care provider first, because they are the medical professional and they're going to give you the medical advice that you need. So some things that I really love. Let me show you a few poses in yoga. I'm actually just going to slide back a little bit here so you can see more of me without me being way back there. Some things that I love, just starting off in our basic seated pose, is connecting with baby. You know, the way that we can use yoga just to connect with baby is so helpful. It brings down anxiety. Prenatal anxiety is a very real thing. It helps us focus. It helps us tune into our breath and give all that good air to the baby. It reminds us what we're doing, housing this baby in our body. This pose is great. Other things, shoulder pain can happen a lot in pregnancy. This is because all of your body weight is suddenly forward, right? The belly is forward, your chest may be bigger, it makes you all lean forward. Oh my goodness, my shoulders hurt, you might say. So I like just taking the fingers, touching the shoulders up, around, and down. I'm not even pregnant, and this feels great. And just kind of working those shoulders nice and up and back. Feel free and do these poses with me if you like. One thing I was trying to find, if you ever have the chance to find it, and I couldn't get one in time, but is a birth ball or exercise ball. I really love those for both pregnancy, labor, and the time when you have a newborn. And this is because when you're pregnant, they are so helpful because you can sit on them and have good posture. And I'll get back to good posture in a minute. They help you have good posture, and you can do sort of hip circles. You can do this sitting here. You could do this on your knees. You can do like here. This opens up the hips. All of these hip circles do. Any sort of position you're in. And this helps release the parts that give us pain in the hips, that give us some of that round ligament pain. Just releasing these areas can be really helpful in pregnancy. So hip circles. Another thing you can do on the birth ball is during labor, you can use it to lay on, to lean on, to sort of roll back and forth, or to sit on. And then my very favorite secret is that when you have a newborn, if you have a birth exercise stability ball, I'm sorry I couldn't get one with me today, is you can use it to bounce the baby, and you can just kind of sit on it and bounce on that ball. And it's very nice. It's better on your back than walking around the house and kind of being like, shh. So I love those, if you can find one. Now, here's all fours. Just my basic knees under my hips, hands under my shoulders. This isn't just great for pregnancy, it's also great for labor. So what it's great for pregnancy is if I'm doing cat-cow, which is drop the belly, look up. This is cow pose. Inhale, that's the inhale. And then when I exhale, I round the spine, tuck the chin, press the hands away from the floor. And this is cat pose. And then generally I tell my students, just take this at your own pace. Inhale for cow, look up. Exhale for cat. And like I was saying, this is great for pregnancy because this is what we often call a hip tilt. If you take the shoulder part out and you're just doing the hips like that, this is a breech preventative measure. It helps baby to be in a head down position as we want. Babies generally come out head down. That is the easiest way to get a baby out. And also safer. So we like to encourage baby to be head down. Hip tilts will help encourage baby to do that. You can do them every day safely. You can do them during labor if you want. And then also it is helpful, this position, just being on hands and knees. We have some really wonderful studies that tell us that if women are not told what position to be in a birth, meaning if you're not in a room and someone says, okay, you're gonna have the baby get on your back. If you're not told what position to be in, most women will gravitate toward being in a hands and knees position, and this is for two reasons. One, it's stable. You're not standing and shaking or anything like that. But also because this naturally helps gravity bring the baby down. When you are laying on your back, then sometimes the tailbone can be closed up and there's less of an opening for baby to get out. But when you are on your hands and knees, then everything is open. Gravity is already going to help baby be down and out. And this is an ideal sort of position for that. Now, obviously, it depends on your care provider, who you can work with, and that's all a conversation for another time of navigating what medical policy will or won't let you do in labor, which is a very long conversation we could get into. But just for now, just knowing that maybe you could have a conversation at one of your prenatal meetings and saying, hey, what are the possibilities of me being in hands and knees or not being on my back when I'm pushing the baby out, because I've heard that gravity can help get the baby out. It might be more comfortable for me and baby, and you could just have that conversation with your care provider. Let's see, another one that I really love for pregnancy is going to be this is a very gentle stability one. So we always talk about how our balance gets harder in pregnancy. This is a very safe balance one. It's just to take the right arm forward and the left leg back. And we don't do much more than that. We just put them down on the ground. But this helps us work on our balance during pregnancy. And keep all of that balance so that we don't feel like we're wobbling and like we're, out of position. people always tell me that, oh my goodness, my back hurts. Oh my goodness, my shoulders hurts and the shoulders hurt. And this makes so much sense because so much of your body weight is forward. Your body's constantly shifting to find the center of gravity. And things that you can do is you can wear a pregnancy belt if you want, really supportive leggings, anything like that. And really most importantly is just trying to sit with good posture. And let me bring a chair here to show you what I mean by that. Because good posture in pregnancy sometimes can be a little different than what we always think of. So here I am. If I work at a computer, I might be like this all day. If I've heard of good posture, okay, I might be sitting up, working like this, and this is great, right? This is gonna help my shoulders. I'll show you from the side. So this is gonna help my shoulders be up, back, and down. This is gonna help me be in a good position so that I'm not getting that slouch. But specifically in pregnancy, say you're done with work for the day. Say that you're at home and you want to watch a movie and you say, oh, I'm so glad I'm done with work. Let's find a good movie to watch. So this position right here. It's very comfortable, relaxed, leaning against the couch position is what I like to call the couch slouch. Now, it's not inherently bad. It's comfortable, which we're always looking for when we're pregnant, right? But what is bad about this position internally, what makes it problematic, is that when you are more and more and more pregnant, so when you're in your third trimester, when we're at the point 34, 35 weeks, when we want baby to be head down and stay head down, well, this position works just like a little hammock inside to encourage baby to be head up. And so when you're in later pregnancy, I always recommend people take a pillow, take a blanket, take, a towel, something like that. You can roll up, fold it in half, stick it behind your low back. That way you can still be comfortable, but you're not doing that couch slouch. Maybe you're sitting up. The ideal position would be to be sitting up when you're very pregnant, to have your knees wider apart. This helps support the pelvis, and to just be supported with something behind you, okay? So maybe I don't look so slouchy and Saturday night comfortable, but I'm more supported. My baby is supported to be head down here. Sometimes you can even sit, if you're working, on the edge of the chair. This helps tilt the pelvis forward, which helps baby be head down. I'll give you a little bit of technical language in it, but the very best position is what we call LOA, which is left occiput anterior. I break that down. That means the baby is laying on the left side. You can encourage that by sleeping on your left side, resting on your left side. It means that the occiput, which is the back of the head, is facing your anterior, facing the front of your body. So baby's on your left-hand side, back of the head is facing the front of your body. Let me grab a little stuffed animal here. Well, here we go. So this is one of my daughter's St. Al. So here's the front of the face, here's the back of the head, laying on the left side in the belly. The back of the head, this maroon part, is facing the front of my body. This is best because when we're about to have the baby is going to drop down in the birth canal. The smallest part of the head, which is the back of the head, is already facing out. They're going to naturally turn a little bit and then come out like that. I make it sound simple. I know it's not. I've done it twice. All right. So those are just some of the basics in pregnancy, ways you can do some of those hip circles, whether you're sitting, whether you're in a chair, and just moving those around to help the round ligaments. You can do that cat-cow we talked about on hands and knees, not only to support baby to be head down, but also to support baby so that baby engages in the pelvis. When you're close to having the baby, you want their head to be engaged. You want them to be firmly into the pelvis so that they're not going to float back up, they're going to come out. And then we also want to encourage the flexibility. So we talked about just doing some of these things to be stable, to keep some of our balance. So I'm going to incorporate all of these things into our slow flow. I will show you one more thing. This in yoga is something that we call the root lock. Outside of yoga is what we commonly will call Kegels. This is strengthening and supporting of all of the the cervical and all of the muscles that hold the baby up. So what it is if you know what muscle you use when you're going to the restroom and you stop the flow of urine, you just tighten those. And really, if you feel anything, you're probably doing it right. And so in this root lock, what we do is we tighten that muscle, and we can just imagine a little elevator going up, 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 tighten, 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 hold. The elevator reaches its floor, holding it, and then slowly release back down. So that's our root lock or our Kegels. These are great ways to strengthen the pelvic floor, to support baby, to support the membranes that have to stretch to get baby out. All wonderful things for pregnancy. Now I'm going to do our slow flow, and I hope that you'll join me, and I hope that this will be a nice relaxing moment. And at the end, I'll go into Savasana, and I'll tell you when we will close our eyes for Savasana if you're comfortable with that. I may move closer to the camera at that point so you can hear me as I do the guided meditation. You can just stay in Savasana and listen to the words that I say. All right. So let's start seated in any sort of position that is comfortable, cross-legged lotus pose. Hand on heart, hand on belly. Inhale through the nose. Expand the belly. The chest naturally expands. Exhale through the nose. Hands on the legs. Open your eyes if they were closed. We'll reach up and hands through heart center. One hand to the floor, the other arm comes up and over, lifting that elbow. If you want a deeper stretch, you can bring this arm further down. And then float it to the other side. Reaching one arm across, holding it with the arm stretched. Letting it float back, reaching the other arm across and holding it. And letting it float back. Open up the legs here. Just gonna inhale up, and then we'll do one side. We're just going to sort of sweep the leg 3 times to activate those muscles before we actually hold it. You can always use a tie or a rope or anything like that, a yoga strap, if you want to reach further on the foot this time of reaching. You don't have to be at the foot. You can be at the ankle, you can be at the shin, you can be up above the knee, wherever you need to be, but really you want to keep the back nice and long. Fold at the hips instead of curling the spine. Arms up and sweep the other side 3 times. And this next one will go in for the stretch. And out to the center, inhale, sweep 3 times. Generally we inhale when we raise the arms up. Exhale as we fold. The next one is for the stretch. So stay out here. It's less important how far you reach, and more important that you're hinging at the hips instead of curling the spine. Bending these back in. Let's bring the feet together in cobbler's pose. Open up the feet like a book. Gently wiggle those knees. And then go into a comfortable leg cross. Could be a regular, here we go, like a crisscross pose, or it could be a lotus pose. We're gonna do those hip circles. I like to round the back when I'm back and stretch it forward when I'm forward. We're gonna swap the other side. So if you have one leg up or you're crisscross one way, do it the opposite way. Go the opposite direction. Another thing in pregnancy is if you have really bad heartburn and you're doing yoga, you may find that the heartburn really acts up when your head is below your hips, so in downward dog or in a forward lean. And you can just adjust that, right? You don't have to have your hips so high. You could drop down, maybe do a puppy pose. Maybe you just want to side lie or do a child's pose instead. Because we don't need yoga to make pregnancy more difficult. We don't need it to make, the stomach acid come up. It should be helping all of the energy flow inside of us. So just go into that comfortable sort of crisscross. We're going to do that root lock. Remember, you're tightening the muscle that you use to stop the flow of urine. We'll do 3 of these elevator ones. So right now, elevators going up. We will tighten, 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 hold. Slowly release. Here's 2. Tighten, 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 hold. Slowly release. And 3. Tighten, 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 hold. Slowly release. This is useful not just pregnancy. This is useful after you have the baby, so that you don't have, any of the, I sneezed, I coughed, and, suddenly I went potty a little bit. This happens sometimes. And tightening that pelvic floor, strengthening that pelvic floor is how we combat that. It's how we make all of our body get stronger and come back and build some of the muscles that we lost when it had to accommodate space, when it had to become weaker, more expansive in some muscles to hold the baby. So this is how we bring it back. All right, now we're going to come on hands and knees. Knees are under hips, hands are under shoulders. Dropping the belly, looking up on the inhale. This is cow. Exhale, round the spine, tuck the chin for cat. Take these back and forth at your own speed. And now we're just going to bring the feet together, sit back and stretch your arms long for child's pose. You want middle of your forehead, third eye, to be on the ground. I'll take this moment while you sit in child's pose to tell you child's pose is a fantastic position to labor in if you have the opportunity and your body likes this position. I spent a good 10 hours in this position when I had my first daughter. It is great because gravity allows the baby to come down. It's nice, it's supported, you're low to the ground, you're grounded. It's just a good all-around position. I've seen many women give birth in this position or in hands and knees. And it's a nice one to know about if you if you find that you are able and your body wants to be in something like this. It's a good one. We're going to come back up to all fours. We're going to gently walk the hands forward, lean forward for this modified up dog. Our thighs stay on the ground. We tuck the toes, we don't stay here long, and we move into downward facing dog. Now the downward facing dog here, you may need, depending on how brave you are, your feet to be wider, and that's okay. You might want them on the sides of your mat to have support. And like I said, if you're having any stomach acid bothering you, you can just drop the knees, go back to all fours, that's okay. But here in downward facing dog, we might inhale up on the toes, exhale down under the heels. Imagining a helium balloon is pulling your hips up, up, up into the air. We're going to look forward at our hands and gently step our feet outside of our hands. And forward fold, exhale. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to standing, slow rise. When you get there, bring the arms overhead and down through heart center. I'm going to turn to face you. Turn to face the long side of your mat. In this star pose, we moved out of Ardha Mukta Savasana, downward dog, up to standing. Legs are wide here. We're going to reach our arms out, up, hands through heart center, and open them up, bend the knees into goddess pose, sort of the American football arch arms. Drop one arm to your thigh, and then reach the other one over. Resist the urge to collapse, and lift that shoulder up and back. Inhale to the other side. Inhale here. And exhale, reach to the ground. You can step the feet out wider if that feels good. Do a forward fold here. If you get dizzy, go down to your knees. Stay safe. We're going to press into the hands. Heel toe the feet together, not all the way touching, just under the hips. And then sit down for our squat, our prayerful squat pose here. You can use the elbows to push the knees open and back. This is a wonderful one for strengthening the pelvic floor too. I always recommend people do squats. I usually recommend maybe every time you go and use the restroom after you're done, you just wash your hands and do a few squats. You can do it against the wall for more stability, just to strengthen that pelvic floor. Hands back on the earth. Come down to your knees. Stretch one leg. It doesn't matter what you start with, out to the side. Come up to standing. Slide your arm down and stretch this side here. Maybe when you exhale, you stretch it a little further before coming up. Both knees. And then the other side. And bring that knee down. Gently here, we're going to go here to hero's pose. Take our hands, make a fist, and put those fists right above your tailbone. Stretch your elbows back. And this is a modified camel pose. Just look up at the ceiling. We're not arcing our back. We're not going to be arching really far back. That would be too much strain on the abdomen. But just looking up at the ceiling, this should feel like a nice gentle stretch in the shoulders as opposed to a back bend. And release that. While we're here, if this is comfortable and your knees aren't falling asleep, stay here. If not, you can go to a cross-legged or a different seated pose, but just put the hand back on the baby, on your belly. Maybe close your eyes if you're comfortable. Take one of those deep breaths. Imagine your baby inside, healthy, comfortable. Send your baby some love. Imagine them happy, living in their mama, being safe and cared for. From here, we are going to go down first to our right side. Very gently get down. You can put your arm under your head like a pillow. Your bottom leg will be bent, but your top leg is straight. Most importantly, have one hand on the ground to stabilize yourself. Bring your top foot forward. My foot is flat as if I was walking on the ground. And then gently back. Do this a few times to release the tension in the hip. 3, 4, we'll do one more. 5, reach it up into the air. Roll the ankle around and back down. Now, if you're on your right side, you can just roll very gently to the other side. So the eyes stay facing you. I'm going to actually gently get up. I got up by pressing my hand into the ground from my side, down to the other side. And roll this side forward. Have my hand here for stability on the ground. I'll do 5 of these. That's 2, 3, 4, 5. Reach that foot up and roll it and back down. Now, laying on our left side here, you see I'm on my left. Get very comfortable. Maybe you want a pillow. We're preparing for Savasana. Maybe if it's cold, maybe if you have the aircon blasting, you want a blanket, or just anything you need to be very comfortable. Lay on your side here. Close your eyes. We'll have a couple moments of silence. Then I am going to move closer to the camera to do a guided meditation. You just stay where you're at and relax, okay? Imagine a warm, glowing light surrounding your baby. This is a light of peace and comfort. It's golden, it flows full of ease. It brings nurturing and it brings peace wherever it goes. When you inhale, that light grows stronger. And when you exhale, send it all the way down to your toes. Feel your toes relax, your feet unclench. Feel your heels soften. Feel your ankles become heavy on the earth. When you inhale, the warm golden light grows stronger. And when you exhale, it expands up your legs. You feel your shins relax, your calves relax, your knees untense. You feel your thighs become heavy. You feel your hips unclenching and becoming more comfortable. When you inhale, the warm golden light grows stronger. And when you exhale, it expands through your belly, surrounding your baby again, full of comfort and light. You feel it relax your spine. You feel your torso, Your breathing become easier. Your ribs are relaxed inside of you. You feel your chest and shoulders all up and down your back become heavy and comfortable on the floor. When you inhale, the light grows stronger, and when you exhale, it expands. Through your shoulders, you feel your biceps and triceps, all of your arm relax. Your elbows release tension. Your wrists flow and roll easier. You feel your fingers become heavy, still, and relaxed. When you inhale, that warm golden light grows stronger, and when you exhale, it expands up through your throat and jaw. You feel these places relax. You feel to be easier to speak your piece, to speak and ask what you need, to tell the truth about what makes you feel safe, loved, and comforted. You feel your jaw relax, your mouth, your tongue grows heavy. You feel your nose relax. Your eyes become soft in your head. Your ears relax, your temples unclench, and your forehead, your brow unfurls. When you inhale, the warm golden light grows stronger. And when you exhale, all of your body is bathed in this golden light, which reaches up to the top of your head. Every part of you is relaxed and comforted. From now on, for the next few minutes of Savasana as you rest, every time you inhale, this warm golden light will grow stronger. Every time you exhale, you will become ever more relaxed. Wiggle your fingers and toes, bring some energy back in your body. From where you're laying on one side, press into that hand on the earth, and when you're ready, slowly come up to a comfortable seated position. As you do that, I would like to read you this quick poem. It's one of my favorites. It is by Joy Harjo, and she was the first Native American poet laureate of the United States. It is called Remember. Remember the sky that you were born under. Know each of the stars' stories. Remember the moon. Know who she is. Remember the sun's birth at dawn. That is the strongest point of time. Remember sundown and the giving away to night. Remember your birth. Remember your birth and how your mother struggled to give you form and breath. You are evidence of her life and her mother's and hers. Remember your father. He is your life also. Remember the earth whose skin you are. Red earth, black earth, yellow earth, white earth, brown earth. We are earth. Remember the plants, trees, animal life who all have their tribes, their families, their histories too. Talk to them. Listen to them. They are alive poems. Remember the wind. Know her voice. She knows the origin of this universe. Remember you are all people and all people are you. Remember you are this universe and this universe is you. Remember all is in motion, is growing, is you. Remember language comes from this. Remember the dance language is, that life is. Remember. Thank you for joining me today. I'm very happy to be here. I'm so grateful that you're here, and feel free and reach out if you have any questions. My website is bearandnurture.com. I can be reached through there. Again, my name is Alexandra Harper-Brees, and I'm so glad that you were able to join me in this class today. Namaste.